And he's such a pro, this lad.
Always.
Always.
Multitasking from information.
My wife tells me nobody can multitask. No man can multitask, but you've just, proven her wrong.
I must be like a one-off.
Yeah,
I think I am.
It is the man who has pulled the shirt on and the boots and scored the goals in a Boro shirt. And you just heard in the background there, the man who always pulls a Boro shirt on, maybe scores goals, but not at the likes of Essen Park. It is Rye, Mr. Invictus TV himself, of the Breakfast Show fame. How are you, buddy?
I am good, mate. Thank you so much for having me on. It's a great pleasure to be here as always and join all you stars over in the Boroland.
Well, it's not me who put you on, mate. It's Andy's show.
The less talked about deadline day, the best, I think, right?
Those three letters never come together when I'm around, mate. Fee. What's fee mean? Oh, dear doctor. Right, where you going with this, Andy? What are we doing first?
I think we've got to start at the weekend. I know we spoke quite heavily last show about what we were expecting at the weekend, and I'll be honest, I didn't see what I was wanting to see. I think we spoke about derby games and how much these derby games mean to us as fans, as what it should mean to players. For me, I thought it didn't seem that our players were up for it just as much as Sunderland. I thought for Sunderland who don't think this is a derby, I thought the fans were very up for it. I thought the players were even more up for it. I thought their manager got plenty of things right in the end. I thought Jack Clarke is a phenomenal talent, and I think he's one player that we struggled with at times in both games. I know they still haven't beaten us this season, which is a positive. But at the same time, regardless of, I thought they were a good side. We got parts of the game really, really well sorted with tactics and things, but we should have won the game as a whole with a horrendous goalkeeping mistake, unfortunately. We need to make sure that when those things are going your way, you don't have to play well to win games, and that was one of those games that we weren't fantastic, but we were winning. We need to see the games over the line and see them through, and you can't make those kind of errors at that kind of level in football if you want to try and get to the playoffs. I know we spoke last week with Higgy and Bernie about not being ready for the Premier League, and I think that was probably one of those moments which showed that we are quite far away.
Right, thoughts on the game?
Yeah, it was a frustrating one. I thought it was something that I was going into with high hopes coming off that Chelsea defeat. Obviously, we had a good break from football. I thought the lads would be up for it. They were well rested. There was no excuses. Obviously, the longer injuries were still missing, but that was a full strength squad. Close to it. But without a striker, obviously. I thought going up, with Marcus Forss was a fantastic goal. It was just going to be that one or two that broke the deadlock, and then hoping we could hold on to it. And then the lead up to the goal, I thought was more frustrating. I think Tommy's been, I'm not trying to be biased here to the Aussie, but I feel like he's been fantastic stepping in to Senny's role. I felt like we probably didn't expect him to perform as well as he has done, I reckon, in Senny's replacement over the past weeks. But the defending leading up to that goal, I mean, Jack Clarke had a paddock and to pass it into. And we were lucky in the first half as well not to go down to a couple of bar shots as well. I mean, he put one to the side netting and could have put one through the feet of Glover as well. So it was disappointing. We should have won it. It should have been 3 points in the board. We should have held on, but it wasn't to be. And unfortunately, it's one of those, that you jot down as it could have been, much like a few others this season as well.
I think that's what you talk about though, right, isn't it? And Dave, that we talk about seeing games out, you know what I mean, that you protect your goalkeeper at all costs, and for a player to be able to switch the ball to a right winger in a one-on-one position in an area, we didn't need to go forward and bomb forward like we did, we didn't need that second goal. The second goal we didn't need it, and also on that point, Marcus Foss's goal was outstanding, unbelievable touch, unbelievable finish, but we need to create better chances in terms of we never score bad goals. We seem to have to score really, really strong good goals to win a football match, and I think that's my frustration at the minute. Every time we score a goal at the minute, it's a decent goal. That Sunderland's goal wasn't a decent goal. It was a pot shot with a bit of hope, and those kind of things can go in, and sure they did go in, unfortunately for us, but But no, we've got to make sure that we protect things more at all costs. I know we spoke on the show quite heavily about the likes of the Grant Ledbetters and Adam Claytons and having those kind of protective players. And we have a lot of talent going forward. We have a lot of legs and we have a lot of areas. But I think when you're winning a game 1-0, and I harped on the start of the season about the Aitor Karanko style, they're the kind of games that you win 1-0. They're the kind of clean sheet games that you have to win. And we looked earlier on, didn't we, about the games that we've lost and trying to get these points on the board. That was 2 points dropped. And when you look back at the season about all the points that we've dropped, we should have got a point here, 3 points here. They are going to come back to bite us on the backside, unfortunately, because yes, we're only a couple of points off the playoffs, but we're a long way at the minute from probably team selection and not having a forward. The potential of losing a player in the next few hours could be drastic, really, in terms of how we're going to try and attack the rest of the season, because all it takes is one player to get injured, and we could be in a real heap of mess going forward. It might ask people doing different jobs and different roles, which is not ideal for a club of our size.
Now we were talking, hinting towards Matty Crooks going out to Real Salt Lake in the MLS. When you were saying there about possibly losing a player, do you think that would have happened if Josh hadn't have been back and fit? Has the club taken a bit of a gamble on this one, thinking Matty Crooks coming towards the end of his contract, not a regular starter? Josh is coming back. He can play. Is that a roll of the dice that they've taken?
100%. I think it's a risk that that the club will have to take. I think when these kind of moves materialise and come up for the player will have pushed this move. Once he's heard about it, he'll have pushed it, because this is an opportunity of a lifetime for Matty. You know what I mean? So look at it from a footballer's point of view. It's an unbelievable move, lifestyle move, career move, family move. It's an unbelievable opportunity. So take a step back as a fan, put my player head on, and wish him all the best if it does materialise and it's something he wants to do, because this is an opportunity that he can't turn down. So every Middlesbrough fan who's upset that he's leaving, he's coming to the end of his contract. He's got an opportunity of a lifetime to take, and he has to take it. I don't want him to go. I'd love him to stay and hope that he can negotiate a deal in the summer, but we all know how football is, that that deal might not be on the table for the player. The player might not want it. So for me, it's a deal that he has to take, and the club have just got to accept it. I think they could have dug their heels in, but what's the point of having a player unhappy when you can put a young player in or put a different player in? We've got to look for the future. If you've got players at the football club who don't want to be there, then it's part of football. One door opens, another door closes. One door closes, another door opens. For somebody else. So hopefully we'll find a rising star, hopefully, for the rest of the season, because the young players they're doing well, aren't they? I think you look at AJ Bridge scored in midweek.
Matthews,
Matthews scored as well. They won 3-0. They win 3-0, 3-1 against Birmingham through the week. So can that give a young player an opportunity to progress? Because for me, if we can't get in the playoffs, for example, that give a young player a chance to play 5, 6, 7 games. If that's a sub or a start, then we might unveil a superstar here, and it might be a blessing in disguise.
I just got to say a quick hello to. Oh, hang on. These messages on Facebook Live have started pouring. Hi, excuse me. Hi to Ian. Very good evening. He says, everyone watching, hope you're all well. Thanks for reminding me, mate. Having a great, cold, wet and dull day. It is over here. Yeah. I mean, we're hovering around about just above freezing, mate. What is it in Australia?
It's currently 17 degrees right now.
At
and
what
6
time
a.m.
of the day?
in the morning.
6 a.m.
6 a.m. in the morning. We're expecting a top of 34 today. I'm sorry to rub that into all of the listeners out there.
Yeah, I think a few people might have just switched you off right now, mate, because if anybody's just done what I've just done in training, I've just been at training with my daughter, and it was awful. It was one of the worst experiences I've had.
Wouldn't have been so bad if you were training, mate, running around.
I wasn't. I was in a coat and a hat on. If anybody wants to see it, I'll go on my social media. You'll see me extremely grumpy.
Oh no!
We did ask the question before we came on air: will we make the playoffs this season? Johnny's been on. He said, "I'd love to make it." Always said this season's a building season. But while you're in with a chance, you might as well keep going and see if you can get there. Matty Crooks will be missed this season. He's had some good games, assists and goals when needed. So get your thoughts in on Facebook. We are live on Facebook Live. You can put your comments on there, on YouTube as well. And you can WhatsApp the studio. The usual studio number, 0330 043 2002. How concerned are you as a fan, Rye, with Matty Crooks going? That's another potential striker that we're going to be short of.
Yeah, I think the thing for me was I'm not concerned. I mean, I think players come and go. Like Andy said, obviously, it's a great point. The player leaves, player can come in, and maybe we get the potential to see an AJ Bridge or Matthews this, for the rest of the season. But the big thing for me that I'm concerned about is Rodgers and Crooks look to me like they were really loved by the lads. They were really loved behind the scenes in that dressing room. I mean, Michael Carrick always talks about when he wants to bring a player in that they have to fit into his dressing room. They have to fit into the mold of what he's trying to build with a team culture. And it felt to me like Rodgers and Crooks were those people. Now, Crooks was obviously already there, but Rodgers was brought in. And I felt like, when you obviously you see the Boro social media, behind the scenes, you saw the preseason, it was Crooksy and Rodgers leading it. They were at the forefront, being the funny ones, talking to the other players. And it felt to me like they were the well-loved blokes in the dressing room. Now, don't get me wrong, Rodgers was just coming into the scene. Crooksy was probably going to be, probably not have a big role this, for the rest of the season, potentially if we saw the likes of Riley McGree and everyone stepping up. But, with Josh Coburn and Emmanuel Latte-Lath, he could have had a role to play there. But it just felt to me like we've lost a very good player and a very good bloke around the club. And that, the Crooksy one I think is going to sting. We're all just sort of getting off the shock of the Rodgers one as well. So to hear a week later that Matt Crooks is also leaving, I think it just sort of ratifies that the fans really wanted to see someone come through that door on deadline day striker wise, and it hasn't happened, and now we're two men down for it. But I'm not. I think, like Cambo said, I think Crooksy's opportunity, can't pass it up. You can't pass up an opportunity at his age to go to America and take your family over there.
Right. Is it more the timing of things? Because I look at the Rodgers deal. The Rodgers deal was touted around for at least 3, if not 4 weeks, maybe longer. So the club knew that this was in the pipeline. The Matt Crooks deal doesn't happen overnight. In order to move over to the MLS, doesn't happen overnight. So this has been spoken about a long time before today. The player must have known about it. He'll approach the club, or agent will approach the club. So we've, in my opinion, I believe that we would have had an ample opportunity to fill voids and fill gaps, and we've chosen not to, for whatever reason. If that's a loan market, or if that's a player, so he believes in what's coming underneath from the foundations, from the younger players, or he believes in the squad that he's got coming back from injury, or believes he's got what he's got within the group itself. My whole concern is we've got a director of football there who's bringing in these players. You know what I mean? You look at Hayden Hackney this summer. Will Hayden leave? Then you've got 3 players to fill voids. You know what I mean? How many players are gonna leave in the summer to fill gaps? You know what I mean? We've rebuilt it this year. Someone just said there on the comments that we're building this season. I agree, we are building, but we're going to take more hits now and in the summer. Then we've got to rebuild again, and this next season going to be a rebuild. When does it stop being a rebuild and it starts being we're pushing on, we're kicking on? Because the teams who are going to come down from the Premier League are going to be up in there at the top of the Premier League, like Leicester were, like Leeds are, like Southampton are. Every year it gets more difficult to get promoted. Every year the finances involved are astronomical. You know that the money we got for Rodgers, is it going in the bank? Is it going to get reinvested? If we do sell Hayden, is it going to be banked? Is it going to be reinvested? At the minute, I don't believe we're in a position to go and splash that kind of money on players where other teams can just go willy-nilly even and just go and bring players in and bring big squads and big footballers in on big wages, you know. Like, look at Ipswich bringing Kiefer Moore. He scores 2 on his debut. And I think that's the frustration of a Boro fan, that we think that we've got a big, massive club, which we have, but we're not investing in probably the playing side that we probably would like to, and go for it like we'd like to. You know, I think right now, if somebody offered me around the 10th mark, I'd like to win every game and get in the playoffs. But the amount of effort, finance involved to get us anywhere near safety in the Premier League would be, I think it could ruin us right now. You know what I mean, in terms of where we are squad wise, you know, and having young players, it's just a big. Little bit too much.
And will another season in the Championship give you that, though? Give you that stability, give you that depth, that strength that you need to then build on for a Premier League season the following year?
I think it will if you've got someone like Hayden Hackney and you've got young players coming through, your Dale Fries. It gives them another year of experience. It gives them a full season, you know. Having a player who's played 40 games in a season they're then ready, But if they do it one-off season, they need to do it again, in order to be a stabilised footballer at that kind of level and prove your worth. You've got to earn the stripes. You've got to play the games, and you've got to be ready to do it week in, week out. And in Michael we trust. I believe everything that Michael's doing. It must be hard for a manager in 2024 to be given players to work with. I don't know if that's the same at Middlesbrough, but every other club who has a director of football, the director of football buys the players, and the manager works with those players as a coach and brings the best out of them. And it must be so difficult for a manager to work with hands tied behind your back, so to speak, because. But
do you think Carrick has? Because I get the feeling he's that type of character and that experienced a footballer. That he wouldn't come in and not have any say in who they're going to get. Surely they have meetings and he goes, "This is what I need. This is what I want." And it's then Kieran's and his team's responsibility to go out, not get the specific player, but get that type of player that the manager wants.
I believe he may talk about areas, positions that I look at the minute, we're quite heavy in the left back area. Currently we're carrying 3 left backs. For me that's at least one too many. And during the start we had Caden Coulson as well, so we were very covered in those kind of areas. We're right now we're currently struggling in the centre forward area. We lose Callum Kavanagh. Cooks could play up there potentially, so I think it's a frustrating one because we're covered in certain areas and we're lacking in others, whereas if it was spread around a little bit and we were covered even as younger players in those kind of areas, to give a young player a chance. When does a young player get a chance? Right now, in my opinion. This is an opportunity for someone to grasp. And if you're a young player at Middlesbrough and you're listening right now, this is a real opportunity for you to get an opportunity. If you get an opportunity, go and take it, because this could be an absolute unbelievable opportunity to have a real career at Middlesbrough Football Club, or put your marker down as a footballer to showcase your talent.
I've got to ask the question about Crooksy, and I'll ask it to you, Rai, first. Is Crooksy a Premier League player? Or is he just a very good and solid Championship player?
Yeah, I think he's a solid Championship player. I think he'd have been, and I think before, at the start of this season, if you had put you wrote your squad down, with everyone fit, I don't think Crooksy was starting in that, was that starting 11. I don't think he gets in, to that first. And I think if you had have asked Crooksy as well, probably with all the injuries we had, was he expecting to play as many games as he had this season? If he was truthful, I think he would say no, probably not. I mean, even in Carrick's announcement and Crooksy's announcement when he signed a new deal in the summer, the line was, Carrick said, "I can't promise you that you're going to play every week, but I still want you here and around the club." And he said that was enough for me, and I signed the dotted line. So I don't think he's I don't think he's at that Premier League level. I think he's a solid Championship player. He's a solid club man, and I think the MLS is a big opportunity for someone at his stature now to go over and try that American lifestyle for his family, and enjoy what would be probably into the swan song of the end of his playing career, and then maybe he can settle down in America. He gets a chance to set up his life and family over there, where he might see better opportunities for him and his family. So I don't think so. To answer your question, I think he's he at the MLS he'll be decent, but he'll obviously the lifestyle of it, I think, is the bigger pull.
Yeah, Robbie Mustoe, of course, did that. I helped Robbie get out to the US and set himself up, and now he's absolutely flying. He's the number
Seb
one
Hines
football.
as well.
Yeah, Seb's gone out. Robbie's the number one football pundit on American TV covering soccer. While we're talking America, Richard's in Maine. He's WhatsApped us. Richard, hi. I had a great holiday in Bar Harbor, mate. I don't know if you're anywhere near Bar Harbor. He said the MLS transfer window opened January the 31st, ends on April the 24th. It's likely that Crooks' move has been on the cards for quite a while. I love Middlesbrough and the whole area, but you can't blame him looking to the future. Careers are short. I think one of the things we might miss is Crooksy in the dressing room. Yeah. How important is it to have characters who are bubbly, who are lively, who are funny, who keep spirits high?
Oh, huge. Listen, you can tell he's a big character. You know what I mean? You can tell all the interviews that he does and his love his love for the area, his love for each other, the players, and the players' love towards him as well. You know, I think he'll be a big miss. The fans will miss him. I think the manager will miss his leadership. And I think the players will miss him around the dressing room and on the pitch and when they need him. Listen, I was a little bit frustrated when I look at the bigger picture and I look at Crooksy and I think, could we have got a little bit more out of him in terms of his attributes, you know, that could, his stature, the way that he plays, could he have utilised his game a little bit more and sat him in front of the back four, for example, and won tackles and won headers and been that stumbling block to stop things going forward, because you need that little bit extra going forward. You need the legs. Has he got the legs anymore? You know, I know he's not old, but you've got young players buzzing in and around you. Look at the Jack Clarks of this world, and you look at top players like Leeds. I watched Leeds the other night, Somerville. You know, that just glide past people. You know, and my only concern was Michael didn't see those kind of attributes. He didn't play week in, week out. You know what I mean? Did he score enough goals to play in that kind of forward area? No. Did he create enough chances in those kind of areas? No. So I think the club have probably thought, you know what I mean, we've got better players in those areas, which is fine. I just think it leaves us short in terms of personnel and numbers. Hopefully not for the rest of the season. Hopefully we don't pick any more injuries up. I think hopefully we've had enough injuries to last us at least the season, if not beyond. But I think I go back to the point originally what Rise just said there. It's a great opportunity for Matt himself, and I believe it's a right choice for him. And us fans will just have to wish him well and hope that we can just maybe drag the deal out as long as we possibly can. Because if the deadline doesn't shut till April, midway through April, can we drag it out? But I think you've got to look at personally for him, because it's not just about it's not about the deadline. It's about acclimatising for their new season. It's about him settling in. Exactly. It's not just about going over a week before the start of the season, because we've known players who've come over here from different countries and really struggled to settle during the start of the season, or really struggled to settle in a new area. And as a player, he'll know the problems that it'll create for him and his family going over to a different country, and hopefully he can hit the ground running if the deal does materialise straight away.
We've got some more comments coming in on Facebook Live. Paul says, good to see Crooks go, but might be the best for both parties. I've got a feeling that we're setting up for next season and putting everything in place to get younger players in and have a real go in 24-25. Rich is asking this week, he did ask last week, what's happened to the Red Alert podcast? You better ask the BBC, mate, it's theirs. Stu Gawley, who's in Canada. God, we're truly international. Look, Australia, America, Canada. Anybody else can chip in from where you are? Doggy. Stu Gawley, evening. Up the Borough with an F in there. Can't do that one, mate. Johnny's been back on. Crooks has only had a bit part to play since Carrick come on. Offer of more game time, he's going to be off and have the chance for better weather. Mind you, saying that, better weather, I don't know what weather Richard's got in Maine, because it can be pretty brutal this time of year. Paul, think a couple more players will go in the summer for decent profit, but I've got a feeling some quality will come in as well. How much you pinning your hopes on decent quality coming in the summer, right?
Yeah, I think he's absolutely right on the first point. I think there will be more leaving. I hate to think it might be my mate in Riley and a few others of that caliber probably feel like they've given. I feel like there's a few players there that are ready to take that next step, whether it be Premier League, whether it be search of Champions League football, whatever it may be. I feel like there's a few players there that are on the cusp of wanting to be in the Premier League or wanting to, further their career. And they might think another year in the Championship is a bit beyond them. So I feel like we're going to see potentially your Hayden Hackneys, rumours around Riley McGree, rumours around, what we'll have with Sam Greenwood, the likes of them. They'll all be, wanting to obviously see what happens. I'm Johnny Howson. Obviously, does Johnny Howson get another contract? That's another year, at 36, in the Championship. So. Look, I think he's absolutely right. I think we're going to probably see a few more out of the window, but you're absolutely right. I think, we'd be crazy to think that Kieran and his team haven't drawn up prospects already for the summer to see who they're going to bring in. They would have had, names probably that they pushed for January. They didn't get it across the line. He spoke on the 12th Man podcast, as a matter of fact, that he didn't want to throw money down the drain. And it was simple as that. And they don't want to throw money at Kiefer Moore as a 33-year-old striker. I mean, on £30,000 a week. So that's fair enough. If that's the attitude, then that's what they got to stick to now, and they want to bring in that talent. But to think we're going to lose a few more, then we'd want to be bringing in some serious talent. But we've seen that they can do it. Latte Lath, I think, has been a great signing. We've seen Rogers, what they turned that into, obviously, as well. I think Engel's now found his place in that squad as well. Sam Greenwood, he's got a wicked free kick on him, kind of playing in that striker role. So, the recruitment has worked so far. So if that model continues, then I'm excited to see what they bring in the summer. But I'm also a touch scared because we've lost a few already, and it's going to be a big summer, that's for sure. If that's what we're aiming for.
It's been a big 2 years for the likes of Hayden Hackney. Andy, how itchy will his feet be?
I think it'll probably scare every fan currently seeing players leave, and because as Hayden as a player and his representatives will probably look at the bigger picture and think, if players are leaving, are the club matching Hayden's ambitions?
Yeah.
Hayden himself will be questioning. You know what I mean? He wants to play in the Premier League. He demands to play in the Premier League. He's playing for his country.
And he's going to play in the Premier League.
He will be. Hayden will be a Premier League footballer. And my concern is, how long does he give here at this football club before he goes and explores that Premier League place? I believe if we get lucky, we'll get one more year to try and get to the Premier League. So because that'll be 3 seasons.
Well, he's on a deal till 27 or something, isn't he?
Yeah, but I just think we also need to be careful, because the price would be prime right now, So in the summer, we'll probably get the most for him because he's on the longest contract, because he's right at the top of it. This isn't me wanting him to go, by the way, at any stretch, because if he goes, you're going to have to replace. And you're going to either have to replace with a young player and try to go down that philosophy route and try and go down the route that the club's going down, which is fantastic. But at the same time, you need someone who's fit and ready to go in there now, because Johnny will be another year older. You've lost the likes of Crooks, who had a huge role to play in someone like Hayden's education in football. So I think it's really important that we're cautious, but understand why players move. We understand because players have the power now. Clubs don't have power anymore. That Rice speaks there about and spoke really well about players who want to explore Premier League football. Ryan McGree, Sam Greenwood, Hayden Hackney. Aston Villa came to town. We did okay against them, but the golfing class was astronomical. Chelsea one-off game. We did okay. This probably still beat us at the Riverside. They lack quality on the night in terms of finishing. At their place, they blew us away.
Then they showed us.
They absolutely blew us away. So the golfing quality in terms of a Championship player to a Premier League player is massive still. So I think as a player, take a step back, understand that you probably need to have those extra seasons in order to establish yourself, because Rogers has walked into a side who's playing really well. Didn't play very well last night, by the way, in the FA Cup, but he was cup tied. But you play Sheffield United, you go and win 5-0, you can come on, look really good and doing bits and pieces. It's fantastic. But when things aren't going great and you're not getting opportunities, you're not playing. It's all about playing, because you're going to get paid regardless. Money in football is brilliant, really good in 2024. But you've got to want to play. So players have to have that desire to want to play games and want to improve, because those moves for Hayden Hackney, for example, will come. It might come a better team if he continues to play well, score goals, and have good games against top sides like Chelsea in the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup, and doing regular things in the Championship. But we just need to be cautious and understand why players move, because we are going to lose players in the summer. It's just a part and parcel of football. But I agree with Ryan and yourself, Dave, that I think the plan will be in place already to bring some transfers in. If they've got some free transfers ready to come in the summer who are out of contract now, brilliant. Is there going to be another couple of young players coming in on loan, long-term loans? Brilliant. Are we going to have to splash a bit of the money that we've earned? I think we will have to. But the players in the right areas to push us forward again. For me, it's just more progression. I'm not asking us to go win the league, because I don't think that's realistic with the teams who are going to come down, because they're going to have the power of the Premier League money and the parachute payments, so they are going to be strong. For me, it's understanding that we get progression. If we finish wherever we finish this year, we just need progress again. A place higher, 2 places higher, 3 places higher, and then go from there. Because the model is a good model, but it can't be just driven overnight.
A couple of questions coming in on Facebook. Ian says, if Matt Crooks leaves, does that mean Boro are writing off the season? I think we touched that one. Now, Johnny's got a good point. We can't recruit for the future in the summer. It really has to be a summer of looking for key players to improve. you think it'll be a mix of both?
Yeah, I think so. I think the remainder of this season, I think, is going to be key for blooding a couple of young players in, and seeing if they're good enough. Because how do you know if they're good enough? They have to be given game time.
Exactly.
You know, we've had a lot of players.
We're talking Hackney.
AJ Bridge,
exactly.
At Law. You know, we've had all these young players sat on the bench and haven't had the minutes to showcase their talent and see if they're good enough, to see if they can handle first team football, to see if they're ready physically, mentally, if they're ready for it. Hayden went on loan to go and get that experience. You know, he came back and he was ready and he was thrown in. The club believed he was ready at that moment to go back in. These players have to be given this opportunity to see if they're ready. And if they are, brilliant. If they're not, give somebody else a go. And if they're not, everybody's not, then you go and have to look elsewhere. And you've got to give people from other clubs, maybe young players who've done it in lower leagues, give them an opportunity to step up. You know what I mean? We all refer back to Macaulay Longstaff. You know what I mean? Notts County must have been terrified in this window of him leaving. Having a remainder of the season in League 2, if he can score 10 more goals this season, he'll guarantee himself a move to the Championship. If that's Middlesbrough, brilliant. If it's another team, a Coventry City or a Sunderland or anywhere, someone's going to get himself a very, very talented potential centre forward who's going to score goal after goal after goal. But I hope that we're in for those types of players. You know, that people touted Dwight Gale over the last few days, and not for me. You know, I was happy with Kiefer Moore. You know what I mean? Those kind, like, you know, someone who's regularly doing it in the Premier League and he's ready for that kind of level. Dwight Gale, he's fell off a cliff, and you know what I mean, to have someone who hasn't played for that long,
scored 2 goals in the last
around there
40 games or something. Hasn't he? Has to be ridiculous.
Yeah, not for me. You know, he's had a really good career. He scored goals in the peak of his career, but you know what I mean, when someone hasn't played for that long, there's a reason behind it.
And I think Kieran Scott mentioned on the 12th Man podcast that there's history there as well with him. You know, the Borough was sniffing when he was. Didn't the Borough sniff when they were still at Newcastle? And
that was probably the time to do it. That was
the
time to do it when he was.
But it didn't happen.
In and out when he was
he
behind
turned us
Callum
down.
Wilson.
So therefore, it's a case of we've tried, we've moved on, fella.
And I think that's the thing. I think fans look at the gap and then they start panicking and looking at who's available. You know what I mean? That free transfer list then looks appealing because they're free and they're available and they haven't got a club. But you know, there's a reason why the likes of himself haven't got a club. You know, I know we were talking off air about Jesse Lingard potentially just gone over to Korea. There's a reason why he hasn't signed for a club in England, because he's probably priced himself out of the market in terms of wages and a financial package. And for me, if he wanted to play for his country, like he's singing all the right songs and he's making all the right noises that he wants to, you've got to play in this country. You've got to show that you're worth. You've got to show that you're good enough, because he's a very talented footballer. And is it a waste going over there? And is he going to just be out of sight, out of mind? And for me, I think there's a reason why these types of players haven't got a club.
There's a couple of comments coming in on Hackney while we're talking about him. There's also we've had a message just for Rye asking a question about a flag. We'll get to that. But Patrick says, I think Hackney will go in the summer. Paddy McNair as well. Greenwood, I think, will go back to Leeds as well. So we need to bring a few players in. But and that one. Hi Rye, do you like my new Borough flag I designed and got made? Will debut the next Borough match on Saturday against Bristol City. That's from Lee. I don't know if you've seen Lee's flag, mate. That's a personal one.
I saw it on Facebook. It's a fantastic.
He's just sent me on a message there. So I'll have a look.
Jacko says Hackney will be there next year unless a daft bid comes in. So he's pretty confident. And Stu says, I would hope Hayden will give us another season to repay the club for the faith they've put in him and see if we can get it to promotion. So, you know, a few of them absolutely adamant.
Which is a good point. It's a really good point, but you've got to also look at the valuation side of it. You know, that if we can get a lot more money at the start of the season for a player whose valuation will be really peak in the summer. If you don't cash in at that point and he plays a couple of games, he's out of favour, he's out of form, he picks an injury up, valuations go down and people start looking elsewhere, you know. So I think sometimes, and listen, this isn't me being I want him out. He's a huge pivotal part of what Middlesbrough Football Club are doing. For me, we need the spine of the team of the players who are from the area. I think that's key for all the fans. I think it's key for the changing room moving forward. So I would love him to stay for all of his career, but I'm also a realist.
Do you think, Cam, that's like a business? Obviously, that's a business position that we're coming at. That obviously. That's Middlesbrough Football Club saying, right, if we're going to sell Hayden Hackney, now's the time to strike, because that's where we're going to get the most amount of money for him. But if I'm in Hayden Hackney's shoes, and I go from a development, say I've got England under 21s. I really want a good future. I want to play for England. I want to be, I want to have a really good career. Then the best person to learn from is the person that played my position and did a very good job of it in Michael Carrick. Now, if I have an opportunity to go somewhere else, maybe it is a Premier League opportunity. Maybe that's going to get my, my name out there. Southgate and co might start taking a bigger look at me. But I get the money side of things, and that's Middlesbrough Football Club. But if I'm Hayden Hackney, development wise, I still think I've got a lot more to learn under one of the players that did it best in my position in Michael Carrick to show me how to get into that England and stay there, and how to get into a Premier League and stay there, because you said it exactly just before. I mean, you can move for the right amount of money, this club can sell you, but then you can be thrown in the reserves, you can be thrown off the bench, you can throw away potential game time where you can learn your trade and then lose everything you've got. Because if you're not playing football, then England under 21s aren't looking at you, Southgate's not looking at you, and it could be detrimental as well. So I wonder if there's any of that type of sort of voices in his ears as well, coming in from that side, because I completely understand what you're saying about the business side of it and striking while he's hot, but a development side of me thinks that he's still got a lot to learn from one of the best that ever did it in his position in Carrick.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and I think that's key, isn't it? From both angles, I think there's two separate arguments to the story here. I mean, there's a side of the business, and the business of football is the financial side, and the player, and the player's playing week in, week out. He's improving every game. He's shown that he can do it against the Premier League side. Yeah, in that one game, he did it. You know what I mean? He can do it against Villa as well. So I think it's really key for him to have those opportunities. I think moving forward, hopefully he is here in the summer. Next season that he starts really strong. He scores goals from the midfield area on a regular basis. He can hit double figures. He can bring those regular goals to his game, like Johnny Howson used to do at Leeds and at Norwich, and make a name for himself. And then when we do get the big games to the Riverside or FA Cup games, that he's the one who stands up, and he's the player that the Premier League teams are scared of, because we're touching distance from the Premier League. And I think, it's only natural that he'll want to play there, but we'll also be nervous that if he does jump in I think Liverpool were touted, weren't they? Liverpool and Spurs, I think, were touted. Would he get in those sides right now? No, I don't believe. No. And I don't think it was that kind of decision that they were looking at. And I think that's probably why that move hasn't materialised, because A, it's going to cost those clubs a lot of money, and B, if they're going to spend that kind of money, then those players have to play. So I think the good news for Middlesbrough is that Jurgen Klopp's obviously leaving. So if Jurgen was a big fan, then he won't be going there anymore. This is great. So hopefully he has a bit of time off. And then other teams, listen, things die off. Michael could go and be a Premier League manager in the next 1, 2, 3 years and take Hayden Hackney as his first signing. Yeah, and that's the reality of football. Managers take different players with them to each and every club. So I think, listen, he's a Middlesbrough Football Club player now, and long may that continue.
Well, it's interesting you say that and you touch on that. Let's get a couple of comments coming in from Facebook Live, and thanks for them. Trevor says Hackney's got as much chance of playing for England as I have. Good player, yes, but he's not a world beater. Went missing against Sunderland. But saying that, Patrick's come on and said, "Do you think Michael Carrick will be here next season?"
Listen, we talk about ambition. We talk about the club's ambition. We talk about individuals' ambitions. Michael has been touted when I think David Moyes was struggling a little bit, wasn't he, before he won the Europa Cup or whatever it was. Michael's got his own ambitions to go and be a Premier League manager. Michael wants to be a top manager. He's earning his stripes right now. Do I believe he's a finished article? And no, 100% no. He's learning every game, every week on the training ground, during a match day, on game days. But if a job came available in the summer, for him to go in the Premier League, would he explore it? Of course he would. It'd be stupid not to. Would that leave a big hole here? God, it'd leave a massive hole, because we'd have to replace, and we would have to start all over and start the rebuild again, because with a different idea from a manager to match the
playing squad
that we're building, philosophy and things. So it's getting that fine balance at the same time, and then obviously players follow and etc. But I'd like to think he would still be here, yes. But would I be surprised if he wasn't? Of course not. It's football. Football is surprised me every day, even further. I think football is just the most uncertain industry I think I've ever come across in my life. And it's from back when I played, it was a lot more stable than I currently see it now. And money is just astronomical in terms of 1.5 million, £3 million now is just like £30. It's crazy in terms of it. It's just a drop in the ocean.
I've got 30 quid, mate.
That's what it is. It's chairman and owners seem to just find that kind of money in the glove compartment now. It's crazy stuff.
Trevor's answered Patrick. He said Carrick won't be here if they keep getting rid of players from under his nose, which seems to be happening now. He said Borough's now a selling club. I think we have been for a little while. And Stu says, Dave, how would I get my hands on a red brekkie mug? Stu, we've run out. But anyway, I'd have to post it to Canada, mate. It was no chance. It cost me about 90 quid just to post it to you. Mind you, I did something daft like that to Australia. It's not even. I can't even see it. I can't even see it on your shelf behind. Right.
It's there.
Yeah. What is it there? Is it there? Good man.
It's over there.
Mug. There it is. Okay, thanks, mate. And Patrick says, thank you, Dave and Andy. But not Rye, obviously. Well, there you go.
No.
Favouritism. Fellas, I mean, we're chewing the cud over Carrick being here, Hackney being here, etc. We've got a game to look forward to, which is coming up at the weekend. The importance of that game maybe a couple of weeks ago would be high because we were so close to the playoffs. There's a feeling now that just maybe our playoff hopes have gone. And Andy's staring in daggers at me. Would you accept that?
No, I don't think we can accept it while it's still mathematically possible. And I think if there's a time to play Bristol City, it's this week. Yesterday they went to extra time and penalties against Nottingham Forest. They lost. The confidence, the tiredness. There's loads of factors which is playing into Middlesbrough.
They've been on a bad run recently in the league.
But then we had loads of rest ready for Sunderland, and it didn't materialise. So it's, you know what I mean. I've got to be. I'm excited on one hand, but then I realise that I'm a realist and understand it's Middlesbrough Football Club and all my expectations get blown away and thrown at the water at 3:05.
We are the masters of grabbing defeat from the jaws of success.
And I'm extremely disappointed again. However, I think
so
whilst I think whilst it is mathematically possible, I still want us to play our best strong side. I still want us to go for it. And then if in 3 weeks' time we are still where we are or further away mathematically, I'd like us to probably just throw a couple of young players in. But right now, the pressure's there for me. The pressure's on the manager. The pressure's on the club. The pressure's on the chairman. The pressure's on Kieran Scott because of the position we found ourselves in terms of getting rid of players. So there's unnecessary pressure, in my opinion, which has been thrown on certain individuals because we've lost players. So we need to make sure that we give it a good go until it's mathematically impossible that we can't get anywhere. I don't believe we are ready for the playoffs, personal opinion. But give it a go because it keeps the season alive. It keeps the excitement going because there's nothing worse than being a supporter of a club who's got nothing to play for from February for the rest of the season and just looking forward to potential next season and then doing the same thing again every season. You know, I think it's a progression, and if I see progression of young players coming through, that's progression. Because I don't care in terms of winning games. I want to win, but as long as these players are getting the minutes and showing us how good they are in terms of moving forward for next season, I think that's key.
Right, can we still make the playoffs?
Yeah,
I know we can mathematically. I'm talking to you as a fan and your belief.
Yeah, so I mean, look, the fans have seemed to have sort of now, done a bit of a turnaround. I can see on social media now as well, obviously letting Crooks go and stuff like that. They seem to think that that's the club acknowledging that we're sort of not going to be doing anything this season. But I don't think that's the case. I think that an offer's been presented to Matt Crooks. Matt Crooks has wanted the move. And then gone and then approached Carrick and Co and said, I want this, and they've said, yep, fine, we're not going to stand in your way, sort of thing. But that doesn't change the fact that Carrick, go and tell Riley McGree, young Vandenberg, even Dale Fry, Johnny Howson, go and tell them that this weekend just take your foot off the accelerator, lads, because we're not playing for playoffs anymore. There's no way. Yeah. There's no way you can put those players out on the pitch and expect them not to be fighting for everything to get this team in the playoffs. That's where they want to be. That's what they're born and train every day to do. So yes, I think we can still make the playoffs. I really do. I think we've got goals in that squad. We've got Sammy Silvera, Riley McGree coming back. Riley McGree has the chance now to be the club's top scorer for the season. The way he was playing just before he got injured, unfortunately. But you get the likes of Latte Lath back, Josh Coburn, Senny Diango's back in goal, your number one keeper. We're starting to look like a formidable squad again. And as I said, letting Crooksy go, that kind of, if you pick your best 11 from a fully fit Borough squad, Crooksy probably doesn't get in that squad. I'm trying to be nice, but so that fully fit squad 11 can still push for that playoff pace. I guarantee you. And I don't think we can write our chances off, and I don't think you can expect the players to sit there and go, well, that's it, we're just going to be happy to sit in the championship again. There's no way.
Right, just on that one then. So, question for you. So, if Matt Crooks stayed, does that guarantee us getting a playoff place?
No, I don't. Exactly. Yeah,
I think
it's a great point.
We're making a point about a player leaving. You know what I mean? Is Matt Crooks that important that he will get us a playoff place? Like, I'm not being disrespectful to the lad. He hasn't scored us enough goals. Does he bring anything different than what someone else would bring for me? He's a backup player. If everybody was fit, he certainly wouldn't be definitely in the starting 11. Would he be on the bench in terms of the top three coming off the bench? I'd probably say no, in my opinion, again. And the manager who's sanctioning the deal, really, to let him go this early in the or this late in the transfer window, for me is happy that he's got other players in his armour that can do a better job than he can. Yeah,
agreed. Yeah, no, I completely agree, and I think that's an excellent point. I don't think we're a stronger team nor a weaker team with or without Crooksy. So, I honestly think we can still make the playoffs. I really do. I'm not willing to write this season off. We are still right there. We're in the midst of it. Obviously, yes, the Sunderland result was a bit different, but don't forget Sunderland, we're on a bit of a weird sort of situation under Michael Beale with a new manager sort of vibe and all that sort of stuff. But I really think we can click now. I think we're starting to see that back four be more settled. I think Luke Ayling's been a fantastic signing next to Dale Fry, Vandenberg. That's probably your back three settled. The left back one is a funny one, like Cam said as well. I think that's a real interesting one to get Luke Thomas, but obviously the Bangura injury is a serious one, and you've got Engel and Thomas to choose from. But Engel's been slotting in there. Yes, he's fantastic up the pitch. He probably needs to sort of help coming and tracking back. Senny Diango's in that goal. And you've got Johnny House and Dan Balasso, who I thought was fantastic on the weekend, next to Hayden Hackney. They're all still trying. So, yeah, look, that squad is good enough. And I think with Lewis O'Brien and all those likes in there, there's no way you can tell those boys to take their foot off the accelerator now and ease up because we're planning for another season of championships. It just wouldn't happen. And there's no way Carrick would be doing that. So, yep, I think we can make the playoffs. I think we're good enough as well. Look, we got to get there first, and look, those teams, those teams are up there, are very, very good teams, and very good squads. But look, on our day, we got to believe that we can beat anyone, and I'm sure Carrick will be drumming that into all the players still.
More and more comments coming in on Facebook Live. Thanks for them. You can WhatsApp as well, 033 or 043 2002, though we are starting to wrap up. Just having a look here, quite a few comments coming in. Lee Fisher's been back on. His situation could occur if Michael Carrick was offered and accepted a chance to go to the Premier League, say Crystal Palace, then it could be an opportunity for somebody like Johnny Howson to be moved into the coaching side of the club. Maybe Woody coming back in. There is a sorry Rye from Patrick because he missed you out when he said thanks. So that's there. Stu Golney's calling me a tight bleep because I won't send him a mug to Canada. Give Howson at least another year. Yes, he's getting on, but he's the best player at the club by a mile. That's Paul. Thoughts on Johnny Howson? Because that's been a big question in the last 24 hours, hasn't it?
Listen, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because the manager knows how he wants his teams to play, and he sees these kind of players on a daily basis. He knows what kind of shape they're in. He's had Johnny in and out. You know what I mean? In this season, he's not giving him a run of games. He's had him real run of games. I wouldn't be surprised if he did stay, but then on the other hand, I wouldn't be surprised if he did say to him, "Listen, we appreciate everything you've done. We're going down a different route. We're going to be bringing in X, Y, and Z, and we're going down a different route."
Go and get yourself one more contract.
Yeah, go and get yourself a 2-year deal somewhere else. Because that's just football, and there's no problem in both of those deals. You know what I mean? If we give him an extra year, brilliant. But he's also probably going to have to think selfishly again about could he go and get a 2-year deal or potential 3-year deal at another football club or in a different country. So I think it'll be very intriguing in the summer. Players have the power see what he wants to do and what is best. He knows how his body's feeling. He knows himself how many more years he's got left in his body. He looks in great shape. He still loves his football. He believes he's disappointed when he doesn't play. I spoke to him at the start of the season, and he was gutted. I saw him on the Sunday. We came to watch the Middlesbrough ladies, and he was gutted when he didn't play on the Saturday when our game was on the Sunday. So he's obviously very professional. He's got extremely high standards, and I think all the fans know that anyway. He's extremely passionate, but at the same time, no player is bigger than any football club, and whatever the manager decides, that we back the manager because he picks a team, and he's got the club's best interests at heart, and wants the club to push on and go at that other level. And if that's with Johnny, brilliant. If that's without Johnny Howson, then so be it.
Ian's asking, what's our percentages of Boro going up automatically or via the playoffs or missing out? I think 0 is the answer to automatically.
Automatic promotion this season?
Those four top dogs.
Minus 100%.
We're not going to get anywhere near them. And there's only 2 places that they're fighting over. Playoffs, I'm as low as 10%. Missing out completely, I'm as high as 90%. That's where I am.
Yeah, honestly,
sorry, mate. He's gonna hit me now.
Yeah, honestly, if we get anywhere near Leicester's, if Leicester got minus 20 points today or tomorrow, we still wouldn't catch them.
Trevor says no chance of the playoffs. Paul Frost says the top 4 have gone absolutely.
I think in my opinion we're probably 25% for the playoffs. And I think that's where we are. I think to talk about the rest is laughable in terms of where we are and the start we've had. Listen, if we were going to be anywhere near that, we talked last week about back-to-back wins. Until we start doing back-to-back wins, and I'm talking next season. Yeah, when we talk back-to-back wins is key at this level. You can play Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Wednesday, and if you can get 2 or 3 in a week, you absolutely fly up this league. Sunderland did it, and that's why they've been in and around the playoffs all season. Yeah. And they've done it against some top sides in terms of the West Broms and the Leeds. We've still got all those kind of teams to go, and we're going to have to beat them in order to be in and around it. And we might even beat them all and still be nowhere near the playoffs because of the teams that we've got points against. So it's going to still be intriguing. We've still got some big games. We've got some interesting games, and at the minute we're in a half decent position in the league where we really shouldn't have been. With the start that we had in this season, we shouldn't have been anywhere near where we are now, because if we were in and around near the bottom of the table and scraping out of relegation, every fan would have probably been quite happy with staying up with the first 10 games and 12 games, So I think we were very fortunate in terms of the run we had after the Sheffield Wednesday game. We turned things around very quickly, but we need to be realistic in terms of the bigger picture of the season. Is the league table doesn't lie, because we've been average throughout the course of the season so far.
Final couple of points.
I've got a question for you as well. Sorry,
hit him with it.
Obviously you're a striker yourself, mate. Yeah. You've been a coach. You've managed at the top as well. Come Saturday, we've obviously got a striker issue at the moment. Latte Lath was told in Carrick's presser that he's a few more weeks off. Josh Coburn still has a few niggles, but he's getting closer, said Carrick. Sam Greenwood was used last weekend as our number 9, albeit maybe a false 9. If you're the manager locking up to Bristol City and we need goals in our team, that's what we failed to sign a striker. We failed to see many goals apart from that Marcus Force glory. Who's your number 9? Who are you starting in that striker position against Bristol City? Who are you seeing that can get those goals for Boro?
I think on Sunday I was very disappointed that Force didn't play as my 9. You know, because I think he's more physical. He's got good movement. Yeah. He's got an eye for goal. And I think with the legs in and around him. And the movement that we've got, Aziz can open a door, Greenwood can open a door. I think we've got pace either side, and we've got players who can do that. I think for me, Force has got to be given an opportunity as a 9 to show his worth. I think when he's played out wide, listen, he scored a great goal. Where did he score his goal? He scored his goal with a touch and finish inside the box. So for me, he's a 9. Exactly. If a centre forward can do that,
in a Bernie Slaven position, that's what it was.
That's the area. Yeah. He wasn't crossing the ball in. He didn't set a goal up. He didn't set many chances up. And that's a winger's job, And when Jones has done it, he's set things alight. He's created things. For me, Force is a goal scorer. When he's given opportunities in the box, he'll hit the target. He'll get you goals. His goals ratio is half decent in terms of the games he's played this season. Yeah. And when he's done it for Brentford as well, so he's not a bad centre forward, but I think he can be better with more games he plays, and I think he'll score more goals. But I don't think he's a real answer in terms of the longevity for a whole next season. I do believe we need a different number 9, in my opinion, or Josh Coburn once he's fit. You know what I mean, to be given a full a full season. But right now, here and now on Saturday, for me, it's got to be fours, and I'd play the whippets either side to give us legs and give us energy.
The comments coming in are not positive, got to be honest, when it comes to us and the playoffs. I hope we make the playoffs, lads, says Patrick, but I think we'll get beat on Saturday. We'll have if we get beat on Saturday, we'll have a mountain to climb with Hull winning, Coventry, West Brom as well. We need to start winning games continuously. Paul says
spent a lot,
we've been too
Hull spent a lot
inconsistent this season. Yes, they have. And Phil says losing at home to Millwall, Hull, drawing at home to Rotherham, Huddersfield. We ain't getting into sixth spot, so that seems to be the feeling. So what about this weekend then? Rai, you teed it up there asking about who's going to be the number 9. What are your thoughts, Andy, against Bristol City and the Borough?
It's must win. I think last week we needed to win more than Sunderland needed to win, and I think I think obviously it didn't materialise and finish the way that we wanted to finish. They finished really strong. With the way that Bristol City played yesterday, with a short turnaround in terms of they've got to travel again. They've travelled to Nottingham. They'll have gone back to Bristol. They'll travel up to the northeast on Friday, ready for a game on Saturday. The weather will be horrific. When there comes, that'll be another nice.
You're hoping?
Yeah, I'm hoping. Yeah, it'll be another nice encounter for them to come here and have the wind swirling at the riverside. But we need a high tempo start. We need the fans early doors. We need to, instead of chasing games, because we chase a lot of games, we need to start with a bit of tempo and see games through. Get the first goal, go and get the second goal, and then you can take the foot off the pedal and just keep the ball and use that philosophy that Michael's got in terms of keeping possession and probing. You've got no pressure then. We struggle in terms of breaking teams down. Teams sit and the counter on us, and we haven't got the answers for them. QPR did it, Hull did it, Millwall have done it, Rotherham have done it. Every team who's done it has got success. So don't be surprised as a Middlesbrough fan to see 11 players behind the ball and hitting us on the break, because they have got some decent footballers like they had down there, and they caused us a problem and they beat us 3-2 down there, and they caused us hit us on the break. They scored goals at the right time. They scored just before half time for the second goal. They hit us on the break for the first goal. We got back to 2-2. We're chasing the game. We go and give the third away. That's another one of those games where we talk about throwing points away, single points, which would be 5 or 6, which was put us in a very different position right down what we're talking about. And I think I talk about payback. You know what I mean? We've dropped so many points against. I'm not going to call them a poor side, but they're not a big club. You know that we've lost. We've got 1 point against Rotherham this season. So far, we've got none against Bristol City. We can't afford to not beat these kind of teams and have any aspirations about getting in the top 10. If we don't beat Bristol City this season and beat Rotherham this season and beat Hull City this season, then we don't deserve to be anywhere near the top 10, never mind the playoffs.
Prediction, Ryan?
I'm going for a Middlesbrough win. Again, the short turnaround for Bristol. I think, hopefully Carrick listens, and I know he's a big fan of the show. G'day, Michael. And he'll play Force up front, and Force will get a couple of goals and listen to Cam's words, because I think you're absolutely right. I think he's got the goals in him. He can maybe fill that void up front. So, I'm going for a Middlesbrough win. Short turnaround. Last game at the Riverside for a couple of weeks. Big performance. Riley McGree, the GOAT, back in there with a big knee slide, saying that he loves me to the camera.
Okay, cool. We're done and dusted, fellas. Good one. Enjoyed it.
Yeah, thanks, Rai.
Cheers, Rai. Thanks for getting a bit ridiculous o'clock in Australia, mate. I can see daylight coming through your blind.
Yeah, I know. It's just coming through right now. Big day ahead.
Cracking stuff. A big day ahead, yeah. Enjoy work, mate. Sorry we gave you a ridiculous start. Catch you on the Brecky Show in the morning.
You certainly will.
All right, Andy, thank you very much, mate. We'll catch you next week.
On DX.